Hey folks, back with another little video. This time another sword review. This time we are looking at the Cold Steel Smallsword. This is a sword that's been on my radar for quite some time. Though I must admit, being that small swords historically aren't sharpened, some were, most were not sharpened edges, just points. It was kind of a hard sword to add to my collection. It was a hard one to convince myself into, but I really wanted to have a small sword to round out my collection. They look very beautiful, and something about it kind of seemed a bit specialized. Specialized just for thrusting. Very different sword than any of the others that I own. And I gotta say, once I got it and got it out of the package, had a close look at it, anybody who collects swords and knives and stuff nowadays might realize that Cold Steel is kind of hit or miss. I hate to say it, I got a love-hate relationship with them. I love their designs, I love their price range, but their quality control leaves a little to be desired. However, not on this one. I've been over this with a fine-tooth comb, and unless you're expecting, you know, tens of thousands of dollars quality at a $500 price range, you can't complain about this. This thing is flawless and beautiful. Speaking of that, let's have a closer look at it. Let's start by taking a closer look at the hilt. Again, like I said, just gorgeous. It's got a lovely engraved pommel. It's got a very nicely executed peen. I don't know if you can see that well or not. The brass winding. I know some of the older models I looked at on the internet were a silver wire wrap. This has a brass wire wrap with a steel wire interspersed in between it. Gorgeous, man. The finger rings that I know are not for your fingers are beautifully executed. The engraving is nice. The engraving on the shell, on the two-lobe, is that what they call that? A guard, two-lobe guard, something like that. Whatever, it's very nice. A wide fort of the blade, the base of the blade, very wide, very steep. If I had to give one little gripe, the blade is very straight to it all. The point is very needle sharp. We'll see that when we go out to the backyard. One little gripe I would say is when you're cleaning it with a cloth, you can tell that the fuller up the back side of the blade is a little wobbly. The scabbard, beautifully done. This little piece with the ring on it was a bit loose, but you know, not too bad. It's very tight. The fit of the sword into the throat is really tight. It goes in, and I've been kind of sitting down. We should look at the shape. Nicely engraved, nicely done. Stitching up the back is nice and tight and straight. Overall, a very, very cool scabbard. Again, though, like I said, it's very tight fitting. Not really nicely finished, just kind of folded over leather in there. But I've been just sitting watching TV shows, just kind of click, 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 just putting it in and out. Eventually it'll loosen. It's getting a bit looser already. But small grapes for the price. Speaking of the price, Canadian dollars, it was $496 Canadian. Not the cheapest sword in my collection, certainly not the most expensive sword in my collection. Great value, I gotta say. And I thought we'd throw in some specs. Specs on this sword is a blade length of 31¼ inch. It's listed as 1060 high carbon steel on relics. I've heard some people say 1055. I'm not gonna nickel and dime over 0.5% carbon. Blade thickness is 7/16 of an inch. Triangular cross section, so blade thickness is a little bit different on this sword. It's definitely thick. Full length 38¼ handle length is 7, weighs 24.6 ounces, 24.6 ounces translates to 697.39 grams. Just under 700 grams. It's a little heavy from the research I've done for small swords, but it's cold steel, you know they're going to make it as heavy as possible, so I'm very impressed. More impressed when I got it out and in my hand. It was a surprise. It was definitely a surprise once I got it out and took a closer look at it, felt it. You know, watched a few videos on how to grip a small sword, and as I said earlier, it was an odd sword in my collection, being that there's no live edge on it at all. Just a very, very, very nasty tip. I'm not going to go too deep into the history of the small sword, but it's the evolution of the rapier. The rapier being a very thin but yet bladed weapon. Heavy slashing kind of gave way to thrusting. I guess people were using rapiers and just not slashing very much with them, just thrusting, and somebody came up with the idea of, well, why even sharpen it? And let's make the blade shorter, stouter, stiffer, and dull, and just pointy, and that's where the small sword. But you know, a very essential piece of fancy dress in the Victorian era. Like a tie would be today at a wedding. You didn't go out without a small sword on your hip, and I think I can see why. This is a very beautiful, very, very beautiful weapon. So, as we do with all of our sword reviews, we're going to take a trip out to the backyard to the cutting stand. Not a cutting stand in this case, it's going to be a penetration stand. The first target that I started with is actually a pork shoulder roast that I just bought for supper. Still in its plastic packaging and wrapped up into the leg of an old pair of jeans on a drumstick. In case you're wondering what that first target is. Then I went on to some of my regular targets, coffee cups, juice, Tetra Pak, and a Gatorade bottle. So I didn't go too crazy. Very good penetration though. I'll take you out and let you be the judge of it at the cutting stand right now. This time we're looking at the Cold Steel Smallsword. As this isn't a slashing sword, this is going to be a different session. This is going to be all about penetration. Starting with something different. This is a pork shoulder and a denim in denim. So let's see how that goes. That went that far. Try a bit more power. I think we might have missed the target. Let's try it again. Yeah. Let's try one more. Hit the post. Almost through. It's through the meat. It's almost through the target. One more. Scary. there you go. No slouch at the penetration stand. A different session in the backyard from what I've ever done, no doubt about that. But I think it shows the point, proves the point. This thing definitely would run you through in a hurry. Somebody I saw review a small sword one time said it was the medieval equivalent to having a 9mm handgun. Just poking holes, you know what I mean? So again, a very, very cool sword, a very nice piece to round out my collection, and one I'm happy to bring to you guys, one that I'm happy to display. As I say all the time, stay tuned, hit the bell notification. More stuff cooking, more things yet to come. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye.